Hi everybody. So this week we are going to take what we've learned about all of our fun Ajax JSON loading of our Guardian data, and we're going to use it to actually create, my goodness, some charts, some visualizations. So this, where the page that I'm at right now, just to give you guys a preview of where we're headed with this, thought that might be useful. This is the link that's in the first link that's in your syllabus for next week's programming work. It is the API documentation for the Google visualization, the bar chart Google visualization. So Google Visualizations is a library we're going to spend some time with, and the reason for that is that it is a great way to generate interactive charts. A lot of the functionality is built in for you by Google, which is lovely of them. So you can see here, if you come to this link and just scroll down a little bit, that we see an interactive bar chart with sort of two clustered bars, and we have these interactive rollovers, and we've got a little bit of labeling and things going on. So this is where we're headed. If you keep scrolling down this page, you're going to see some HTML that they offer for helping build this, and we're going to use a slightly different approach, but this is a good reference to have, and I encourage you guys before class, if you have some time, to go follow this link to the Google Visualization Playground, or also called the Google Code Playground. The Google Code Playground actually comprises all of their APIs that are available, and has this really nice interactive what we call IDE, or I think it's sort of an IDE, integrated development environment, right, where you can actually sort of manipulate these elements. So if I make that change on this code, you see it's changed this title, right? So it lets you play around with this. The reason why we're going to use Google Visualizations is because sorry, because it provides a kind of a uniform way for generating and also customizing a lot of different types of visualizations. So you can see from here they have the bar chart. This is the area chart that's going to come up, just a little weird. We've got motion charts, pie charts, organization charts. So here's the what they call the area chart, right? Or what we might call this a stacked line graph. So there's a lot of stuff. So anyway, as we start to work with the bar chart, it's going to give us a window into creating all of these different kinds of visualizations. But for now, we're going to look at how we would construct one of these. And so I'll sort of use I'm going to use the HTML that they have here as a reference, right? But there's a lot of things that I'm going to change about it because we want to make sure that there's a variety of things we want to do, right? Or things that we have done previously that we don't want to replicate in this, right? So one thing that you can see is that they have their script for their visualization right in the head tag of their HTML page here. We don't want to do that. They have their data written directly into their draw chart function. We also don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to use it as a foundation, but we're going to modify it to sort of match the system that we've been using. That's going to let us load data dynamically, like our Guardian data, as well as use things like our jQuery library. Not because we're going to need jQuery so much for this. In fact, there are places where within this that we can't use jQuery where it otherwise might be nice to. But because as we think about building a larger page and a larger set of interactions, we're going to want to have that jQuery library available. And so we want to make sure that we sort of follow that order that we set up of looking first for document ready and then kind of loading our data and moving on from there. So you're welcome to sort of use this as a reference, and I'm going to be referencing it and building these pages. But this our final piece in the code from the code perspective is going to look quite different. So to get started here, I'm of course going to come to Aptana. I'm going to go ahead and create, in this case, an entirely new project. I'm going to call it, I'm just going to choose the default one. I'm going to call this Google Charts or Goog Charts. And I'm going to build this up from scratch because, oops, it didn't delete my old project. Secret, okay. Let's do that. I'll call it G-Charts just to be safe. Here we go. Okay, so same here as we always see. I'm going to do new from template, create my HTML page. And so there are a couple of things that I now know that I want to, so I'm going to call this Google Charts example. And I'm going to edit this to say something like, hope there will be a chart below. Okay, so here I am saving this. G-charts main. Obviously, you guys can name this whatever you like. I'm going to aim for my parent folder. And of course, the other thing that I want to do here, excuse me, the other thing that I want to do here pretty quickly, right, is hook it up to my Aptana. So I actually have FileZilla open. I'm going to use that to, you can see I'm in my public HTML folder. I'm in Spring 2013. I have a jQuery folder. I just prefer to create, I find it easier to create these in here, so I'm going to call this Google Charts. Hopefully that one will take okay. Right, so now I have this Google Charts directory. So that's what I'm going to hook my Aptana up to here. So again, I'm going to say, I'm going to call this, my G Charts connection. And I need to change the remote directory a little bit, I believe, because, oh no, sorry, I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a new one here, and this is going to be G-Charts, because of course I have to connect it directly to, in Aptana I have to make the connection directly to the target folder that I want, right? I don't get to sort of navigate around in the tree there. So again, this is going to be my qnix.cc.columbia.edu. You can pull this from one of the other connections that you may have. Okay, and again, using FileZilla, I'm just going to grab this whole string here and put this in. And if everything went okay, fingers crossed. So I should theoretically be connected here now. I obviously don't know because I don't have anything up there, right? This folder is empty at the moment, but now all my connections are set up. The other thing, of course, is to locate this. Now, one thing I want to point out, I'm going to use FileZilla to show this. I did a little post about this on lore. You see that I now have this htaccess file. It's just inside my public_HTML folder, and that contains that text that you saw in the attachment, and it says options plus indexes. And what this does, what that plus indexes does, is it means that when I come to my own web page here, right, right to my own. Come on, browser. Okay, what it's going to do is actually show me the pages. So previously you guys were seeing this, forbidden, you can't access this kind of thing. And that is a default behavior. But what this lets us do is just more easily browse to our actually finished product, right? So we don't have to kind of like go crazy digging around for links. So that was a whole lot of setup work. However, as we know, there are a few things that we always need to one thing that we want to do, obviously, if we want to have a chart on our page, is we're going to actually need a div to put that chart in. And as we saw in last week's, we're usually going to use an ID for this. So remember, things can have both a class and an ID, and the ID should be unique. So in this case, I'm going to call this, let's call this Guardian Bar, okay? Because I've decided that I'm going to put a chart with the Guardian data in it. And so we have this here. Now, what are the other pieces that we need from this? So this is going to be a very common practice that you're going to see me do, which is that, basically I already have, in some places, I have some of the code that I need. I have some of the references that I need. So I know that I want to include jQuery in this. I'm not going to go, I could go back to the jQuery website. That's fine. I'm just going to steal it from myself here. We don't really talk about self-plagiarization in code because we all do it, and it's a more efficient way to work. More efficient, and I should say not problematic. It is considered a clever thing to do rather than an inappropriate thing to do. So I've got my jQuery library loaded here, right? What comes next, of course, I want to create a JavaScript file. So again, I'm going to do my new from template. I'm going to grab JavaScript, call it a template, save this, hopefully. Okay, and so I'm going to call this gchartscripts.js, of course. Right? I have to make sure I have that on there. And I'm going to make sure that I include that in here. So I've got my script source equals, and it's going to offer me that. So I've got that in there. And now I need to make sure that I get in the new piece, and the new piece is going to be this Google Visualizations API. And so I'm going to come back to my to this bit here, and I see that, oh, okay, there's this, the thing that seems to be really significant, right, is this google.com JS API. Okay, that's the script tag. And again, you can see this is loading from a web location. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, and I'm actually going to put it at the top. So there is an order of operations here in what I'm including. So you can see that here I've got my Google Viz library, right? I've also got my jQuery library. And my own custom script has to come after both of these because, of course, my library or my script, let's call it. Because, of course, my script is going to rely on both of those libraries, right? I'm going to be relying on Google Visualizations and jQuery, so I need to make sure that both of them are loaded before I try to start doing anything with them. So just to kind of get things going a bit quicker here, I'm going to come back again, and I'm going to use my data scripts as a reference. So I'm going to grab my document ready out of here. I'm going to give myself a document ready here. And instead of saying write to console, of course, right, I'm just going to do a check document loaded function, right? This is our sort of typical work process. And I'm just going to console log. And again, this is to make sure that I haven't, encountered any errors, and so I'm just going to go ahead and open up my folder here. Oops, that's not what I want to look at. Right, and I'm going to go ahead and open this with Chrome and inspect element. Okay, so we're in a good place, right? We've kind of used our previous examples, right? So again, this is why we've been really emphatic with you guys about commenting, because as you can see, I'm already starting to use some of my previous material as a reference, right? And it really helps to have that commented in such a way that I understand what's going on. So we'll come back in a minute, and we're gonna start building on this. We'll fold back in loading our data, but loading first our Google Visualization library that's going to let us actually generate that interactive chart. So we'll see you in a minute.